What's up, everyone? Bailey Schober here. So, today I'm going to talk about the hardest thing I've ever done in my life so far. A 50-mile ruck with 30 pounds on my back in 25-degree weather with zero training to prepare for it. So, this isn't just a story about some physical endurance test I did. It's more about what happens when you push your mind and body to the absolute fucking limit and the lessons you learn about yourself when you refuse to quit. So, if you've ever wondered what you're truly capable of, or if you just need some motivation to tackle something that scares the hell out of you, this story might hit different for you. So basically, by the end of this video, you'll understand why why doing hard things in general just isn't just about the challenge itself, but it's about who you become in the process. So every year, I force myself to do something hard and challenging, something that's going to take me to deep in dark water. So if you're not familiar with that term, basically imagine going in the ocean in the middle of the night. It's pitch black. Obviously, the ocean's deep as fuck. There's a bunch of shit swimming around there. You have no idea. Probably pretty fucking scary, right? But you kind of just jump in, sink or swim, motherfucker. That's kind of the mindset. And so it's finding a challenge to take not only your body, but your mind there. So basically, something that most people never even dream about doing, something that scares the absolute fuck out of me. So I do something like that every year. So in early 2025, I didn't have anything planned yet. One of my good friends, Zach Hummel, said he was hosting a 50-kilometer ruck in December at a local state park right by our house. So 50 kilometers, that puts you in ultra marathon territory at about 31.07 miles. So I said, fuck it, I'm in. But I'm going to do 50. I'm going to do 50 miles. Me being American, I think kilometers are pretty fucking stupid. These are what I call commie units. 50 and plus 50 miles sounds a lot cooler, and people know what that distance actually is. So I committed sometime in early 2025. I want to say somewhere around February, March, maybe. Now came time for the training, or so I thought. So I was going through a photo shoot prep where I got down to 6% body fat on a very strict diet and training in the gym 6 days a week with daily cardio sessions. I was working a 9 to 5 at the time and working on my fitness coaching business simultaneously. So between working 70 to 80 hours a week on top of a bodybuilding lifestyle, I had a good amount on my plate already. So I really couldn't do any extra long distance rucking to get ready for this 50-mile event. Photo shoot's over, prep is over. I just left my 9 to 5. I should have more time now, right? Wrong. For those that run a business, you know how much work you have to do as the owner. You're doing 7 to 8 different jobs. Client fulfillment, sales, marketing, content, admin, systems building, literally everything. So that became my number one priority. I basically went into maintenance mode on my training and diet, enough to keep me where I'm at, but 100% locked in on growing the business. So besides the 1 mile rucks I did around the neighborhood with my dogs every day, that's the only real training I was able to do. I did do a 13-mile half marathon ruck down in Dallas with my parents, wife, and little brother. But outside of that, that was really it. So we plan on doing it November 14th. But Zach's kid made the all-star team for football. So we had to push it back to December 9th. November 14th in Indianapolis was a sunny and 55-degree sunny day. Beautiful weather for rucking. December 9th in Indianapolis, the days leading up to it, we had 7 to 8 inches of snow covering the trails in snow and ice, and it was about 22 to 25 degrees outside. Not ideal when you're planning to be on your feet for potentially up to 24 hours straight. But we set a goal, and we were determined to do it. So we had a big meal Friday night around 5 p.m., and we set off around 7 p.m. The idea was to start through the night and finish with the sun up to help boost morale when shit was going to really start to hurt. So we start with about 7 of us planning on doing more than a 50K. And then another 2 were going to join around midnight with their eyes set on the 50K. I'm in 4 layers of clothes to stay warm. I got 30 pounds on my back between the ruck weight and food and liquids. Morale is high in the beginning. We're all pumped up, shooting the shit, talking about life despite the cold. We hit the trails that are covered in snow and ice. Luckily, it was a full moon that night, so we had the light of the moon to guide us through the woods without having to resort to our headlamps. But the trails aren't smooth and flat because of the snow and ice. Every step I take, my foot is kind of just landing weird over and over again. Didn't seem like a big deal in the moment. Come mile 9, I step in a massive fucking puddle. Great. I still got 41 miles to go in soaked shoes. So luckily, Zach had had us put grocery bags over our socks. He called them the West Virginia snow boots, which helped, but shoes and socks are still wet to a degree. Not great for, like I said, that 22 to 25 degree weather. And like I said, planning on going 50 miles. And I was like, well, suck it up. Don't be a pussy and keep going. At mile 10 or 11, I could feel something going on with my feet. On top of my legs feeling tired, Conversations started to die down. You could tell people's energy levels were dropping. Something wasn't right. Every step I took, it felt like I was walking on glass. So we get to mile 16 or 18 for our first aid station stop, and I go to change my socks. And once I took them off, there were blisters all over my foot that looked like airbags that had gone off in a car. Sensitive as fuck to the touch. And I hit, God, fuck, it hurt like a motherfucker. It is what it is, I tell myself. I put on some new socks that are dry. I restock my bag with more food and water and hydration and electrolytes and everything else I need. And on through the night we go. So we're not even halfway yet. I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I just got to get used to this pain because we still had 30 plus miles to go and I wasn't fucking quitting. After about mile 10 or 11, it became purely mental. Pain everywhere in the body. It felt like somebody had taken a baseball bat to every part of my body, especially my legs. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. That's all I kept telling myself. The first 25 miles were through the woods covered in snow and ice before we finally transitioned to roads. I'm literally feeling blisters pop and new ones form every 30 minutes. My socks and shoes are just covered in pus, blood, and sweat, making a squish noise every step I take. The sun starts to come up, which brought life to the group as it was pretty fucking rough around the halfway mark. At the 50K mark, around 31 miles, a few guys hit their goal and they decided to head back. I had a goal of 50 miles, so I was prepared to be solo for the last miles if needed. A few more dropped around the 45-mile mark after hitting PRs, but I convinced 2 others to join me for the 50-mile mark. We've already done 45, so like, what's another fucking 5? Big whoop. Those 5 were the fucking worst. By that point, I couldn't walk normal. We stopped at mile 45 for one last aid station. And when you stop for even just a couple minutes, your body just shuts down. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes just to warm back up. So I'm like, you got to fucking figure it out, dude. So I popped some ibuprofen and I just started limping my ass off. Literally limped alongside a highway at a 28-minute pace per mile. I knew this wasn't sustainable. I was like, I got to fucking pick it up or we're going to fucking be out here all goddamn day. So we force a power limp walk and we get to a 20-minute pace, which is still slow as fuck, but it's a lot faster than 28. The highway sidewalk was covered in ice and snow. So again, back to uneven surfaces, making every step even more painful. We finally make it to the car, 49.75 miles. Motherfucker. We thought we had planned it right, but obviously not. So we keep limping around the parking lot to get to that last quarter mile. Watch hits 50 miles, and psychologically, it was probably the best feeling I've ever fucking felt in my life. I fucking did it. I did a 50-mile ruck with 30 pounds on my back with literally no training. By far the hardest fucking thing I've ever done in my life. I sit down in my car for the first time in 20 and a half hours, and that felt like I was sitting on a cloud. I go home, I sleep for probably 12, 14 hours. I wake up, and now I literally can't walk. I had to crawl around my house for 2 days, crawl up and down the stairs. It literally felt like I was paralyzed from the waist down. 2 weeks go by before I'm finally back to normal and walking normal and lifting legs again. I still think back to that night almost daily. The amount of pain I was in mentally and physically, the amount of times I told myself, don't be a pussy and keep going, even though I wanted to quit. I set a goal. Now make it fucking happen. What example am I setting for others that look to me for inspiration if I quit? What example am I setting for my future son if I quit, if he goes back and watches this? Well, I didn't. That's just not who I am. I'll never fucking quit. I will literally fucking die before I quit with anything in my life. So if you're still with me, here's the moral of the story. You can do more than what you believe, right? I wanted to quit at mile 15, 25, 30, 35. And I was just like, oh man, I can just go home. Nobody will ever know. You got to convince the mind. The mind is 10 times stronger than the body. Your body will want to quit every time. But you have to tap into another level of your brain and force yourself to man the fuck up and get it done. Do hard things. It will help you level up as a husband, a father, a friend, or whatever you may be. Just don't be soft. And most importantly, always remember this. Don't be a pussy. You see it right there. There's a reason I have it right there. So every day I walk in this office, I see that. And it's kind of like, it's been my motto my whole life. If this story motivated you to tackle something hard in your own life, let me know in the comments what challenge you're going to take on. And if you want more content about pushing your limits and becoming the best version of yourself, make sure to subscribe. I'm Bailey Schober. Peace.